was like, now what?
There wasn't much to do after school.
I always wanted to try acting, be on stage.
We had a stage at my school, but no theater program.
It was just sitting there, a big empty stage.
Ours was used to store old desks.
And like 60% of New York City public schools don't have theater programs.
Really?
Here's a stat. Kids who do arts education are twice as likely to graduate from high school.
You serious?
But what if there's no arts program at your school?
Right?
So that's where Opening Act comes in.
Yes, and
They're like, y'all need some theater here.
And the schools are like, here's an empty stage.
It's all free. They don't charge the schools.
So they bring these incredible teaching artists to our schools.
Oh, stop. They teach improv, acting, writing.
We meet weekly for a year.
And create an original play that we perform at an off-Broadway theater.
I was so nervous.
Stop. That was popping, my G.
I did all right.
I did so much with Opening Act.
I spit bars with Anthony Ramos.
Wait, Anthony Ramos from the original Tony Award-winning cast of Hamilton?
Yes, that Anthony Ramos.
And the world's gonna know your name. What's your name, man?
I've made some of the tightest bonds, some of my best friends in my life in Opening Act.
I met my girlfriend, I met my partner, I met my heart.
Wow.
Was that cheesy?
And we had a beautiful baby girl.
I learned to push myself, to dream big.
To say yes to myself.
And to my future.
we all have an Opening Act story.
Help us make more.
Opening Act has provided free, high-quality theater programming to New York City public schools for 20 years. So let's make sure every young person in New York City can find their spark.
To see more stories, visit our website.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Zarita Ricks, and I am the extremely proud Executive Director of Opening Act. We are so proud of the work that we do, and just as you saw, the impact on the young people we engage is powerful and durable. That video was made this time last year. Everyone met in person in a small studio in Brooklyn, collaborating to show the world not only what Opening Act accomplishes every day, but what it means to be a part of this expansive ensemble. Since our very first workshop at Clara Barton High School in the year 2000, Opening Act has been distinctly an in-person community. Our theater programs take place in New York City public high schools. Our students ride the subway to attend Broadway performances. We gather on stage and in the audience each May for Yes Fest to watch and perform and applaud. The big question is, how does an in-person ensemble become a virtual one? There are many losses and there are so many gains. Indeed, we do lose the special connection that being in person together provides, but there is so much that we do gain. As an organization and as a community, we gain a big opportunity to reach more families and more young people. We can be even more inclusive by connecting to so many more people. Our community grows, which means our network of support for one another grows. And let's go back to the losses. I know for one, I need a hug. These virtual hugs just aren't doing it for me. And so, again, the question is, how are our teaching artists and students connecting in a meaningful way online? And so to talk to you more about how Opening Act is responding to the current climate of New York City public education in our high schools across the city, I am so excited to welcome one of our incredible teaching artists, Kayla Jackman, and her student, Camilla Barnes.
Hello, hi.
Hi, Camilla.
Hello. Good to see you.
And again, I just a sidebar, on behalf of Opening Act, Kayla, we want to wish you a happy birthday. And so thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you. I'm 33. I feel good. I'm like old. Like I'm way over the hill. Way over it.
Well, thank you for joining us. And Camilla, it's so good to see you. And so, Kayla, this is what we're going to do. Let's kick it off, right? And so, there are some things across our program that although we have become virtual, we're still able to do. And so do you mind warming us up like you did in the classroom?
Absolutely. Camilla, if you are down, I would love for you to join. Oh, heck yeah. Okay. Camilla, I'm just going to ask that you mute yourself and then just do it out loud with me. But, okay, cool. So we are going to do the 8-count shakedown. It is an energizer. It is something you can do if you're watching right now. In fact, I encourage you to do that. I know you're like sitting here on your computer and you're like, no, just like watch. It's actually going to be really weird if you just watch. Z is going to watch it, but me and Camilla are going to do it, and so are you. So let's do that now. If you want to, stand up, and I will walk you through what we're about to do. You are going to count down from 8 with your right hand, then your left hand, you're shaking it. Then you're going to shake your right foot, counting down from 8, and your left foot, counting down from 8. And then you're going to do it from 4, then 2, and then 1. And then once you get down to 1, you're going to, we don't really have anything that we do at Opening Act, but I'm going to say do like a power pose of some sort. And yeah, do that, make yourself feel good. At the beginning, you're going to feel like, whew, this is taking forever, but I promise this is a part of the yes and. All right, here we go. We're going to start with our right hand, counting down from 8. And go. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. Ha! Heck yeah. Thank you, Camilla.
Heck yeah. Thank you so much, Kayla. And I mean, I was sitting, but it got the juices flowing. Yes. And I don't remember doing anything like that in high school. So I can just imagine how fun that is with the students. And so thank you. Now, Camilla, our Opening Act star, thank you for being here. You have survived the spring quarantine with Opening Act. You participated in our Summer Arts and Leadership Conservatory online. And people are curious about what it's like to transition from an in-person experience to having Opening Act workshops virtually. Can you tell us, what has it been like for you?
It's a weird difference because, again, like in person, it's like you develop a certain relationship with people and like you're through a screen. So sometimes people will be like off screen doing something else, or like you don't know what's going on really. So it's kind of weird, but the conservatory was really nice and it was really great. Like everyone wanted to be there. So everyone's camera was on at all times unless it was like they needed to do something or like they weren't able to make it to the class or something. And even though we got to like see the teachers for like a short amount of time, we still were able to talk about like our own lives and like connect with everyone. So it's kind of the same feel. It's just like as in person, it's just, through a screen. That was like my take on
it. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Kayla, what a whirlwind to go from in-person workshops to Zoom, then to Google Hangouts. What have you learned as a teaching artist in this process, and where have you seen the impact for our students?
Well, the transition from in-person to on camera and Zoom meetings and Google Hangout meetings was like, it was fascinatingly like really smooth for our group. I loved seeing Camilla like come to classrooms. She was usually always on time, if not early, hanging out and smiling. And it seemed to be the same thing in our Zoom meetings. I loved seeing you there. And I think a lot of that transition was helpful because we had an ensemble already from the fall and part of the spring. So we had like a genuine, authentic connection with everybody in the room. I think that the ease and the comfort that we had in talking to our students, not necessarily just as like teacher and student, but more as like a part of the ensemble, also like really facilitated like just an understanding of how weird this is. And it didn't need to feel like we were trying to like sugarcoat anything. We all just kind of sat in these rooms starting in March, and we're just like, so this is weird. How are you feeling? How can we make your day better? And I remember one of our other students, Brianna, who was also in our summer program this year. I remember in the spring during quarantine, she said that was her favorite part of the week. Her favorite day was Monday because of opening act. And I think that was such a special part of this process for me. And there was also a really cool moment, Camilla, I'm not sure if you remember, but there was a day we were trying to figure out what we were going to do for our spring, the Show Must Go Online show that we did also on Zoom. And I know you all wanted to do, or you were brainstorming about Disney and like songs that you guys wanted to lip sync and stuff. And there was just like 45 minutes where everybody just like decided to like act out a song. I think, Camilla, that you were singing.
Yeah, Naomi, she was singing Part of Your World from Ariel. We were like acting it out.
Oh, it was amazing. I cried a little bit, and I still remember that. Made me so happy. So I think the impact, was just like personal. It really deepened my faith in what we can do online. It deepened my faith in like how opening act has such a huge impact, not only in the classrooms, but also like carrying us into Zoom and this fall as well.
Well, Kayla and Camilla, thank you so much for showing up, for yes-anding, for continuing to be just amazing people and making sure that we can continue to offer amazing experiences to our youth. And so I am going to say goodbye for now, but Kayla, we'll see you in the fall, right? We're getting ready to launch our fall virtual programs. And Camilla, we wish you all the best. Continue to stay connected.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. All right, so next up we have Marcus Johnson, our Director of Programs, and Paul Gutkowski, our District 79 Manager.
Hey, what's going on? Hey. This is it. This is the fam right here.
Oh, yeah, I know it is. And so you two make the magic happen, right? And so let's just dive right in. Marcus, tell us about it. How will we, Opening Act, continue, despite it all, to continue to serve our 57 partner schools as we enter the unprecedented 2020-2021 school year?
All right, Z. Well, I gotta, before I answer that, so you know how I couldn't find my Opening Act t-shirt earlier, right?
I was devastated.
I know, me too. But I had to dig into, like, boom.
Oh, really?
Boom. My students from the Student Leadership Company of 2017 made me this shirt.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so I had to start off with that because that's why it's so important that we continue to show up for our young people. I mean, yes, we're in unprecedented times, but the way that we show up, that is not unprecedented at all. So, I mean, we have a plan. We are going to continue virtual learning throughout the fall and for however long needed. We have a team of about 30 teaching artists ready to go out into programs and serve as many young people in those programs as possible. We have extracurricular activities planned, special events. We have our Act 2 Fall Summit in November, which you'll hear a little bit more about that a little later. We have master classes set monthly for alumni and for special guests. We have artistic and work development partnerships in place. So, we're really trying to make sure that we're still a consistent presence in an inconsistent world. At the end of the semester, we have showcases lined up for families and school faculty and support staff the week of December 7th. So all the work that young people have been working on over the course of the semester, they'll get to show that off. And we are ready and able to shift back to in-person programming if regulations and conditions change to allow that. New York City Department of Education's Chancellor Carranza has made it clear that the focus this coming school year for students is trauma-informed education. Opening Act is uniquely positioned for this task because we center joy. We don't even look at it as trauma-informed. We know young people have the weight of the world on their shoulders, so we intentionally create spaces to foster creativity and to provide a release. We've already taken that approach further by developing a healing-centered curriculum that we've used for our District 79 programs for the last 5 years. District 79, for those of you that don't know, is NYC's alternative school district for students that have had a significant disruption in the course of pursuing their high school diploma. And Paul, you are the person to talk about what does programming look like in the virtual workshop space for District 79?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, it's just so good to be here. I see like a lot of love in the comments. This is the first time, this is a new hair thing for me. I'm really nervous about what's happening with my hair helmet up top. I couldn't wear a hat. So I came aboard Opening Act about 7 years ago, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker. And we started engaging with District 79. And what we did was we looked at the original after-school curriculum and looked at how we could adapt it to meet the specific needs of District 79 students. And what's pretty amazing though, and what I think Opening Act is really has always been in a great position to do this work is because I think we've been doing it for 20 years. Trauma informed is a buzzword, but I think we've been doing healing centered work from the get-go. Because what we do and what we do slightly more intentionally in District 79 is create spaces for young people who may have experienced individual or collective trauma to feel free, to feel safe, to drop the mask that they have to wear. That's a self-protective mask, and engage and connect and build community. And when we think about trauma-informed work, I never use the word trauma in a classroom. I never go into a classroom and say, "Oh, what was your trauma?" I mean, that, can you imagine if a teaching artist or anyone did that? You'd be like, "Who are you? Get away from me." It's about connecting and creating spaces where joy is possible, and that's where healing takes place. When people are able to be their authentic self, that's where healing and joy take place. And so that's what we do. We do what Opening Act does. We do it a little bit slower. There's some games that we have changed a little bit, but the goal is the same, and it's to create spaces for young people to feel safe and heard, and to connect and to commit. And so that's what we do, and we do it in the virtual world. It's a little strange, but as Kayla said at the top, I've actually found there are things that we can do in a virtual space that we can't do. There's students who don't like to, who struggle with eye contact or struggle with being in a group in a physical space, who thrive in a virtual space because they have that they feel a little bit safer. They can turn their camera off, they can turn their mic off. So it's very different, but I think there's also been a significant impact on our students in a virtual space.
Thank you, Paul. I'm going to ask you both this question. Marcus, you can jump in first. What are you most excited about when you think about our transition from an in-person program to pivoting rather quickly in the spring to provide this virtual experience, and now being able to expand the virtual online program across our partner schools in a way that has never been done before? What are you most excited about?
You know, we've always had a strong desire. It's always been kind of a part of our mission to reach as many young people as possible. And so this is the opportunity to do that. You know, with online programming, the sky's the limit, and we can reach beyond New York City, beyond New York State, and go out into the world to share our programming. So that's what I'm really excited about, is really just breaking barriers, breaking past the school building and going out into the world.
Yeah, to yes and that, in the spring, you know, we opened up D79 programming to every single D79 student in the city because we could. And we, you know, we're in 10 sites in Manhattan, 10 amazing sites. But when working with the principal and with some of the administrators in sites that we don't work with, I was part of a working group, and they're like, well, we have students that are at the door. We have students who are, you know, can they come? And it was like, yeah, well, I mean, there's no reason why, you know, if they're like down to get a little silly and a little goofy in an opening act class, like we would love to have them. And so I think, you know, what Marcus said, I mean, like, there are obviously restrictions that come with a virtual space, but there are so many opportunities to engage young people. And you know, one of the things that happened too is, you know, students are getting, I think teachers are doing an amazing job, and we work in D79 with the most committed, passionate teachers in New York City. But they're giving students work to do. You know, they have to complete this work, and they get assignments on Monday, and they have to work through them, and by Friday or whatever it is, and then they can pop into an opening act class for 2 hours. And it's such an escape. You know, it's a place to escape the world, but then process what's happening in the world, which I think is such a unique thing that theater and opening act offers.
Much, don't go anywhere. So we are now going to be joined by one of our school partners. And so we welcome to the screen Mark Monterera, a District 79 teacher at the Pathways to Graduation Harlem Renaissance site.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad to be here and represent District 79, and I'm honored to be here speaking with you, Zaretta, Paul, Marcus. Everyone who knows me knows I think the world of opening act and the work that they do with our students, and I'm honored that you guys have me here during the summer to talk. I really am.
Well, Mark, we are super happy to have you. And before we dive into the questions, on behalf of Opening Act, and I believe everyone that's tuning in tonight, thank you to you, all of our District 79 educators, all of our educators across the city, for persevering and for continuing to keep our children's well-being at the forefront of education. So I salute you and I applaud you and I thank you for being on with us tonight. And so you have been like a road dog to Paul, right? You guys have worked really closely.
Ride or die.
And that's what it's about, right? I think it's really something special when organizations can become meaningful thought partners with New York City educators, right? And so because there's sometimes, you know, that in classroom versus out of the classroom misunderstanding, but for you and Paul to have such a strong relationship, as we do with many of our educators across our partner schools, it's amazing. And so can you talk to us for a few minutes about how Opening Act, how our program has supported your work as a teacher and your students, particularly right now?
Yeah, sure. And I'm happy that you started by talking about the relationship we've been able to develop with Paul and Opening Act. In many ways, over the past 4 years, I actually think Paul and the Opening Act staff were really a huge part of creating the culture at our site just to begin with. So, in other words, they almost sort of helped to form Harlem Renaissance, the school that I worked at, as it is today, which has been enormous. I also think the greatest benefit has been in the realm of joy, like Paul was saying. I mean, obviously there are benefits to the social emotional piece. Obviously there are benefits to professional skills and academic skills that one could gain in improv classes. But I think for me as a teacher, the most important thing is knowing that my students receive the joy that they deserve. And Opening Act has been enormous in delivering that. During the lockdown, during the virtual learning sessions, I think it was great for students to have a Zoom to belong to have a weekly event where they could connect with people. Again, whether a student was a consistent attender or whether it was their first time, just being able to show up somewhere where people are greeting you and comforting you the way that they would in a classroom, I think that was enormously important for the students that I work with.
Thank you, Mark. And as you think about this upcoming school year and the relationship that Opening Act has contributed to, the culture, I should say, that we have contributed at your school, what do you think your students are most looking forward to?
To be completely honest with you, I'm not sure, but I think I'm not sure what they're looking forward to, but I think it's nice to know that regardless of what happens, whether we're virtual or whether we're in person, that we still have that same support from this organization that's helped us build the culture that we've built thus far. So, I think for students, again, my students, they deserve the joy. They deserve an extracurricular activity, and it's beautiful to know that they'll still be able to receive this activity despite these circumstances we're going through.
Well, thank you so very much. We are excited to be with you again for another school year. We've been now doing this work for 20 years, and so it's 20 more. And so thank you so much. We are so grateful for your partnership, and we look forward to working together as we continue to show up and the District 79 student population and continue to bring hope, joy, and community.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Marcus, Paul, Greta. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, Paul. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll see you tomorrow. Marcus, just hang out with me for a little bit.
All day, let's go.
All right, let's go. And so now, if you know anything about Opening Act, you know our Act 2 fellows. Joining us now is Ian Reynoso, an Act 2 fellow, and Matthew Green, our Act 2 college and career program manager. Ian and Matthew.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
And so, Ian, I feel like I've seen you at least like 2 or 3 times this week. And so thank you for joining us on a Thursday night.
Yeah, it's good.
Good, right? We get to connect more often than I think we would if you were inside of a physical building. And so, taking advantage of this opportunity. And so, Ian, I'm going to kick it off with you. Talk to us. Tell us, what is an Act 2 fellow and what has this opportunity been like for you?
Well, the Act 2 Fellows are a group of alumni who work for Opening Act and making programming happen and preparing for our futures career. So, for me, actually, this opportunity has been really awesome because I got the chance to learn, to work, and enjoy at the same time, all those 3 things. And I really love it. So the Act 2 Fellowship allows me to have a better understanding about the staff work. So I kind of know what Opening Act is more internally, and also gave me the opportunity to help them while I'm gaining professional skills and experience that I can use my whole life. So I'm learning actually very general that I really enjoy that and I love it. So, they're helping me also to achieve my goals. And also they gave me a mentor who is helping me with the process to make my goal a reality. So I really love it. I also started teaching in D79 with Paul, and I know that the kids also, they love it. You can see in their face that they really enjoy the class, and it's not boring. So coming up this fall, the Act 2 fellows will be working in paid internship, so we will get more experience in our chosen fields. So we're gonna learn and we're gonna get paid. And also, I remember when I was in Opening Act back in 2019, because I just graduated, I can say that. I was really enjoy the program. I love it. So I was excited every day in every class I was there. Now to be a part of making that possible for other students and alumni make me really happy. And also I'm learning for my own future in college, in work, and in the arts.
Well, thank you, Ian. Oh my goodness. And you know, you and the other fellows, you guys are just so much a part of our thought process, right? When we think about opening act and we think about our fellows and we think about the future generation and what you all will need beyond the building, I want to say thank you for contributing your unique perspective, for showing up, for being so enthusiastic, right, about all of the programs and the opportunities, and really seeking opportunity to take advantage of all of the resources that we provide. And so I'm going to turn this over to Matthew. Now, Matthew, Act 2 isn't just our fellowship program. Talk to us. Tell us all about the opportunities available to students like Ian and our alumni this coming school year.
Yeah, and I just want to echo. I mean, Ian is such a great addition to the opening act team, and it's hard to top that. But yeah, beyond just what Ian was talking about with the Act 2 Fellowship Program, we have a lot of really great stuff that's ongoing and things on the horizon. Marcus mentioned earlier, we have the Act 2 Fall Summit. It's a 2-day college readiness event. It's designed specifically for opening acts, passionate young actors. It is designed to explore pathways in higher education for those who are studying theater and the arts, those who are not. And it's going to be a really great, exciting event in November. And as a certified college access counselor, I'm going to be available to provide any support that our students need in that journey, students and alumni. And then for our alumni specifically, we are in the process of planning an ongoing series of digital masterclasses. We jumped right into these when the pandemic hit. We went virtual and we said, well, one silver lining is we can get fantastically talented folks to come in and do these digital masterclasses for students who are in and out of New York City, for alums and some students who joined us who are in and out of New York City. So a lot of those boundaries just sort of fell away, and we've had a great series of digital masterclasses that is going to be continuing into the fall, as well as a digital space that we're creating where these alums who are specifically pursuing careers in the arts can network with industry professionals and find opportunities to grow and to work. And on top of all of that, we're continuing our partnerships with various organizations, trying to just throw a big butterfly net over as many opportunities as we can and bring them back to our students and alums. So including Futures and Options, which will help us provide paid internships for current students, and the Actors Fund and their Arts Workers Resource Center to connect alumni to even more professional and artistic opportunities for networking and things like that. So there's a lot on the horizon, a lot of really exciting stuff that we are starting and continuing, and all of that.
And I am just as excited. Thank you so much, Ian. Thank you so much, Matthew. We are happy that things are still moving forward and excited to see what the fall is going to bring. Thank you much, Ian. I might see you tomorrow.
Yes, you will.
Yes, take care.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you,
Thank
Matthew.
you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, Marcus. Now this is it. This is the time. It's 7:34. This is what we've all been waiting for. You know, I've always wanted to say that. You know.
Yeah, right? Build it up. Oh man, I love it.
And so, Marcus, we have an exciting announcement to make, and I am going to let you take it away.
Absolutely. So, you know, one thing about adversity is that it creates opportunities. And so even in this unprecedented time, I think that's maybe like the 4th time we said it.
Yes.
We have been able to create a new programming venture called Opening Act for All. Opening Act for All is arts education for anyone, anywhere. So with Opening Act for All, it will consist of a series of engaging short-form video content, which can be accessed by anyone, anytime who wants to engage with performing arts through the opening act lens. This new content will roll out weekly via a platform such as our Opening Act YouTube page and our Facebook page. And this launch will start in October. It's an opportunity for any student anywhere in New York City and beyond to have access to high quality theater and performance training taught by accomplished New York City artists, actors, and performers. We're really proud of the work that we've been doing in gearing up towards this time, and we're really excited for it.
This is like a dream, right? Like we always say, we want to expand. We want to, broaden our reach and our impact. And, like you just said, crisis definitely brings about opportunity. And so we are taking advantage of this moment to really draw students in across the city, beyond the building, beyond New York City's parameters, to really be a part of that hope, joy, and community experience. So I am super excited. And I will add that in addition to our workshops, we will have some live events. And so, keep looking out for that. But this is just one program that I really believe is going to bring a great sense of social engagement when it's needed the most. And so, Marcus, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for yes-anding. Thank you for steering the ship. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. I don't know if anybody else plans on doing it, but props has to be given to Zarita coming in here, grabbing the reins of executive director in February, y'all. In February. She didn't know that we were going to be hit with this pandemic, but she's getting us through. So, no, thank you as well.
All right. Thanks, Marcus. I'll see you in a little bit. And so, whenever we talk about Opening Act for All, I just get I get all of these bubbles in my stomach. And because, again, I'm just thinking about us being able to extend our reach. And, we work right now with high school students and young adults. And we do have a middle school program that recently launched. But now, kids as young as 2-3 years old could be a part of our community. And we're looking forward to that. But none of this, and I mean, absolutely none of this incredible work is possible without the support of an amazing board of directors. I am so pleased to welcome Rahul Tripathi, our co-president of the board, and Maza Mairi, a board member and a mother of one of our former Opening Act students.
Hi, Sadie.
Hi.
Hi,
Z. Hi, Marza.
Hi, Rahul. Nice to see you.
It's so good to
see both of you.
Same here.
Yes. Yes. It's really good to see you both.
Yes.
And, Rahul, I'm going to kick it off with you. I had no idea. We joke about this often. Like you say, Z, we didn't know this was going to happen, when we. But it has truly, truly been an experience that has taught me a great deal, has given me a greater appreciation for the love of arts, and has really helped me to understand how critical it is to be very thoughtful about the opportunities and the resources that we provide our young people. And so I want to say thank you to you both for just being so very supportive. And Rahul, I'm going to kick it off with you. So you are a thought leader in the world of nonprofits. Hence why I always say, let me call Rahul. And so, and this is really a challenging time for everyone, particularly nonprofits. How do you see us, Opening Act, our organization, as a continued leader in the field?
Sure. Thanks. That's a very generous introduction, and I'm always humbled to be part of this organization. I think it's such an amazing organization, and I'm so proud of all that we do. I'm honored to be part of this ensemble that you've put together, right? I mean, it's extraordinary. We see our past and our future, right, all together in this hour-long assembly of folks, and it's wonderful. It's a good question, Z. It's a really, really big question, right? Because I feel that so many different organizations nationally, globally, have gone through this tremendously disruptive period, and nonprofits, I think in particular, we're hit really, really hard because so many of us are dependent on events and fundraising, right? And sort of that's sort of how we keep our doors open, and that's how we deliver our program. And when all of a sudden, something happens, like the pandemic really hit New York City in March, right? I mean, just as everyone said, a month after you arrived, right? And I promise we did not know, Z. I didn't bring you in on purpose, right? And you're thinking about these canceled events, and the market's also tanked at the end of March, and so donors were a little skittish, and there's less earned income, and everybody's kind of fearful about the future and their well-being, and at the same time, we got to make payroll and we got to keep our program going, right? So look, it's for a lot of organizations, this was a huge hit. It was 25-50% of their operating budget that they lost sort of overnight, right? And it's we transitioned very quickly to online events. We were thinking about how are we going to keep the doors, keep the program flourishing and vital, and those online events, while they were like tonight, incredibly. They're wonderful in that they have such a broad reach. In general, they have not been as high impact in terms of fundraisers. They've been perhaps more important in terms of delivery of messaging around program. But we've got to think about what that means going forward and how we're going to balance that model. And I think one of the themes of the last conversation is that from adversity comes opportunity, right? And I think that's absolutely true. We got the chance as an organization, as a leadership team, to really take a deep dive into our model, right? And think about how we delivered our program and to whom. I mean, this idea of opening act for all never would have come to surface if we weren't forced to go online, right, in the delivery of our program. And I think there's a silver lining behind every cloud, right? Absolutely. And I see that as part of our resilience. I think we're an incredibly strong and intentionally willed organization, and I think that's coming to surface in this moment of distress in very wonderful ways. And I think the other thing that can't go without some comment is this is also the summer in which two things sort of happened lockstep in society, right? There were all of these protests against police brutality, and at the same time, extraordinary rallies in support of Black lives, right? In the Black Lives Matter movement. And part of the silver lining again of this pandemic is that as a society, we were finally forced to have long overdue conversations about a broken and corrupt and violent system, and also to have conversations, more intentional conversations about systemic racism. And why this is also important, and sort of how I'm tying these two things together, the pandemic and some of the social unrest of this summer, is it's why organizations like Opening Act exist, right? I mean, the reason we have social justice organizations is because some of us believe that there is a disconnect in society between sort of the well and the less well-resourced, right? And sort of we understand that there are greater barriers for some to achieve the success that's surely in them. And so, I feel strongly that organizations like Opening Act, that Opening Act in particular, is going to have a greater role in the future than it has in the past, which has already been sort of, it's got an extraordinary history, but I think it has a yet more extraordinary future ahead of it. And I'm convinced that we're going to overcome all of these sort of short-term stumbling blocks that the pandemic created. And in doing so, we're going to be revitalized, and we're going to be really strong, and we are going to be more relevant than ever. And and I'm really, really excited about that. And I think we're all incredibly happy and grateful to have you at the helm and leading the organization. And I'm super excited to see what the future holds.
Thank you, Rahul. Very, very, very well said. Thank you. I am equally as excited. equally as excited and extremely optimistic. And so, Maza, you have a very, very special connection with the organization through your daughter, Anya, who just graduated from college. This past spring.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so as a board member, as a mother of an opening act alum and now college graduate, why is opening act important and why must we keep showing up right now?
Especially right now, something that Rahul touched on, you know, we experience a pandemic, which most of us haven't never experienced in our lifetimes, but also our children definitely have never experienced anything close to this. But there's also the racial pandemic, the racial injustice that unfortunately our children have experienced. They've relived over and over again. It's like a post-traumatic stress disorder that's never really post-traumatic. It's just a reoccurring traumatic experiences that they're going on. It's traumatic for them to watch on the news that young people like them have no voice. Young people like them are being murdered. Young people like them are displaced and not provided for equally like their counterparts. So an organization like Opening Act provides a voice to them. It provides a voice in teaching them the skills that they need to learn, but giving them an opportunity to tell their stories in their own voices, in their own way, and in their own timing. You know, that's something that I noticed immediately with Anya when she joined in 2012. There was an immediate, if there was a meter that could tell, she probably went from 40% confidence to 85% confidence within 3 sessions.
Wow.
Because here it was, and it's not that she came from a home where she didn't have a voice, but there's a lot that, you know, weighs down on our children, unfortunately, when they're experiencing things on a daily basis. And I know because I have an 8-year-old who, you know, I have to be very careful about watching the news with, and I have to take breaks and have long discussions to let her know and try to help her understand why this is happening or why it continually happens. And I think that Opening Act provides a safe space for our children, the children who don't have voices otherwise, to tell their stories, to speak up, to get involved. And with all the more that we're doing now, with Act 2, preparing them to go out in the world and giving them the tools they need to have a better chance, a better opportunities, I think that it's so important right now. And we definitely we need to keep showing up. We need to keep supporting, and we need to do exactly what we're doing, which I love to hear this Opening Act for All is bringing more in and starting even younger. I just had a conversation with my daughter's PA at an elementary school about Opening Act and said, I wish that there was a way that this program was in elementary schools. And then, like, from my mouth to God's ears, it doesn't normally work that way, but that's wonderful. I'm just so excited to hear, because I know that these children would love the opportunity to learn the value behind the yes and all the skills that they've been taught is priceless. So I think that we need to continue doing this, continue stretching our reach as far as we can go.
I agree. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Z.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Both for your tremendous support. And again, I want to thank the entire board of directors of Opening Act for yes-anding our young people. Thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you.
Thank you, Z.
Great seeing you.
Soon.
Yes.
Wow, what a night. What a night. Our very first state of the ensemble. And so on behalf of all of the phenomenal team members of Opening Act, thank you all so much for graciously spending your evening with us. And I guess the question now is, I know a lot of people know what you want to do. Most of us know that we want to help. We just don't know how, and sometimes we don't know where. And so I'm going to tell you right now how you can help us. You know, you've heard the stories, you've heard from our students, you've heard from our staff, you've heard from a parent. And, you know, simultaneously, we are walking through and surviving and thriving through a health pandemic, but also the social and civil unrest. And so the Opening Act is onward and upward for us. We believe that we have to continue to cultivate communities of hope and joy. We believe that our students, rather learning happens in the classroom or outside of the classroom, that they are well worthy for this access and availability of programs like Opening Act not to be disrupted. And so we are about to launch, just in a couple of weeks actually, our annual online fundraising campaign, The Power of 20, to support Opening Act going beyond the building. And how you can help is we need a dedicated team of volunteers to show up as leaders for this campaign. Rahul touched on it. You know, this is a critical time for nonprofits across the world to leverage and utilize access to supporters like yourself who, again, you know what you want to do, but you might not know how. And so all we ask is that you ask 20 friends, colleagues, family members, frenemies to donate to Opening Act. If we all commit to this simple act, Opening Act will have a solid foundation as we move into a year without precedent. And I also believe that it will continue to help us change the lives of young people one act at a time. And so we're asking, we need a motivated team of supporters who will spread the word. We need volunteers to bring wisdom and experience and skills to our Act Two fellows. But most of all, we need a network of hope, of people who believe that we really are in this together, and together we will thrive. And, you know, Paul and Mark talked about our District 79 community, and which has a special affection in my heart. And so when you talk about New York City's most vulnerable youth, often they are told no. Everything around them is a no. And programs like Opening Act, where they continuously and consistently hear yes and, you heard Paul say it, you heard Mark say it, it becomes the fabric of a school community where young people then transition into healthy and whole young adults. And so we are excited to launch the Power of 20. We anticipate that, you know, it's going to be very successful as we move forward 20 years and more. And I am going to bring Marcus back to the screen. But before I do that, if you are willing, if you are saying, I'm going to yes and Opening Act tonight, I have 20 people, you know, I just want to be a part of what this organization is doing, please, 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 just throw it in the chat, right? Throw something in the chat that says, you know, I got your back. So that's our slogan at the organization. Everything is, you know, I got your back. And so throw it in the chat. And, you know, we really do hope that you all are happy, healthy, and whole. And definitely join us for Opening Act for All. Again, these workshops will not only be for children, they will be for everyone. And so we really just look forward to the expansion of our program. And we look forward to continuing to, in this critical time, again, be a staple of hope. And so, Power of 20, we're going to close out. I'm bringing Marcus back to the screen.
Hey. We in here. People got our backs. Let's go.
And so, Marcus, I got your back.
Oh, I got yours too, Z.
You know? And so, you know, Marcus, go ahead. Do what you do. You do it so well.
Oh, I appreciate it. So, thank you all so much for joining us. We're going to close out in what has been pretty much a new way for us since we've been virtual. What I'm going to ask you to do, even though I cannot see you, I'm going to trust that you're going to be in this with me. You're going to make a fist. And by the time I count to 3, you're going to take that fist to your camera and we're going to say, I got your back. Sorry about my hairy knuckles. That's what it is. All right? Okay, here we go. Are you all ready?
I'm ready.
1, 2, 3. Got your back.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I am going to end scene. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your support. Onward and Upwards, Opening Act for All, Opening Act General After School Programs, Opening Act 2 Fellows, Opening Act District 79. We're ready. Take care, everyone. Stay well, and we'll see you soon.